Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff, the podcast inspired by conversations overheard at the airport bar. Join Phil as he grabs a couple of beers and chats with interesting people from around the world, sharing expert knowledge and hilarious stories that you won't find in your guidebook. So pull up a stool and get ready for an adventure as we explore worlds of travel and beyond with Two Beers Till Takeoff.
4 hours in a Taliban headquarters.
I had dog meat in Laos.
Was it golden retriever?
Smack a dirty old smooch on our beautiful fish right here.
He didn't die, but he fell down the side of the mountain.
Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff. My name is Phil, and today we have on a man with a tooth less than most. His wit is sharper than the average and could not be more pumped that it is coming home. Welcome to the show, the man, the myth, the sloth, Sid.
Thanks. It was a real mixed introduction today.
I know. It took me. We said we were doing this last Monday, and I've worked at it since then. So usually, if you give me a bit more time, I get better at the introduction.
Yeah. Really showed you put a week's worth of work into that.
Yeah, I'll bill you later.
I'm glad you mentioned it's coming home though.
Yeah, dude. Let's start it off. What's going on with you? What's new?
Yeah, I got back into the running a little bit. Other than that, I've been enjoying the beautiful state of Espírito Santo. I went swimming in a lake last week, which is unusual for me. I'm more of a sea guy normally.
And is that because in Brazil, lakes typically have the bugs that if you pee in the lake, the thing crawls up your dick?
You do have to be careful with those in freshwater. Yeah, like those parasites do exist here. Yeah. I tend to piss in the toilet though, or like next to trees rather than in the water. So it's like less of a problem for me personally.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Usually nothing crawls up your urethra.
Hasn't happened so far.
1 minute 37 in and we're already talking about urethras. I guess just to give an update on what we're going to be covering in this episode. Me and Sid, we've got a few things we want to talk about. We want to talk about ayahuasca. We want to talk about obviously the Euros that's coming up very soon. We also we got a couple games for you at the end. Sid and I are going to be covering the top 5 countries with the highest body count.
He doesn't mean with the most murderers. I did check the rules of this earlier.
So we're going to be doing the top 5 countries, the highest body count, and also we're going to see if we can name all 50 U.S. states. And if we can't, Sid and I have pledged that we will chug a beer. But if we do get it right, you, the listeners, have to drink 2 if you're driving.
It's a very sexy but very risque episode today, right? Pushing the boundaries a little bit. I like that.
It feels dangerous. I'm feeling dangerous. I don't know. I just want to point the elephant in the room. I am wearing a Paris Saint-Germain jersey.
Oh, funny. We both picked to wear football jerseys today. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Shout out to Donald. Thanks for the jersey.
What a legend.
Yeah. You talked about running. I guess maybe I should give a bit of an update too on running. I have completed another half marathon a few weeks ago. Finished around, I think it was 2:01, 2 hours, 1 minute. And it wasn't raced. It was, just kept it part of the training instead of, going hard. And last year, like you guys know, I got injured. And so this time I took it easy. 3/4 of the way took it easy. And then the last quarter of the half marathon decided to really punch it. But I think what really hit me when I finished was like, holy shit, dude, I got to do this twice.
I mean, the only conclusion I can really draw from that is you're not Ethiopian. I had doubts before we started, but now I know, like for a fact, the guy's not Ethiopian.
Hey, I mean, it's shout out to the people who've done marathons, man. It's a lot easier to say that you're going to do one than to actually do one.
I'm making a comeback, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah, because I'm slightly worried that you're going to beat my time from 2 years ago. So I'm intentionally signing up to do one a month after you do yours.
You son of a bitch. I'm going to get you so drunk when you're in Canada, you're not even going to be able to you're going to quit right on the spot. Hey,
Hey, you, come here. I got a secret for you. This episode is sponsored by No Days Wasted, a leader in the hangover supplement. This episode is sponsored by No Days Wasted, a leader in the This episode is sponsored by No Days Wasted, a leader in the hangover supplement industry. Listeners can now get 15% off their next purchase by using promo code 2beers in all caps at checkout. Yeah.
Now, to be honest, this one is a lot less about time and just about finishing one, just with all the shit that happened last year and pushing it. And yeah, I'm this year, even if I finish over 4 hours, I'm very happy with that. And it will upset me a little bit that I won't beat your 345. Was it 345?
It was 345, yeah.
345. And but no, man, that's a great first marathon time. So I mean, now that I understand a bit more that time and how tough it is to even get a 345, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Like I don't want to break character because I know that I'm known as like one of the toughest men this side of the equator. But that's why I was so emotional, I think, when I got over the finish line, because my injury wasn't as bad as yours, but I was injured. I was out for like 4 months where I couldn't do any exercise. I couldn't, I could hardly walk. I was doing physiotherapy. And I think that's why I was so pleased when it was done, because I was like, if I don't want to ever run again, I don't actually have to run again now that I've done this from a personal point of view. But I've decided I am going to run again.
Wow. I'm excited. Brazil's fucking rejoicing. Before we get to the Euros, though, quick touch on Copa America. Thoughts? Does Canada have a shot? I saw we were playing Argentina.
Yeah, we talked about this when the draw came out. And for some reason, the draw looks a little bit lopsided. I think I'm just pulling it up now because I can't remember exactly what we said. There you go. Yeah. For some reason, Mexico have got a fairly easy looking path, and possibly the US as well. Actually, no, the US definitely have, because Uruguay are very good, but Panama and Bolivia are awful.
Even I know.
So,
that.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know any better, like, because South America is a little bit crooked, I would expect that's been corrupted, that's been fixed so as to provide easy paths for those two massive footballing nations.
Are we basically looking at a Brazil-Argentina final?
No, because Brazil is shit.
What?
Yeah, I actually forgot that we could swear then. I felt a little bit awkward saying that, but we can't we? Yeah, Brazil is shit. Yeah, I don't think Brazil will top their group. I don't think they're a better team than Colombia. I also don't think they're better than Uruguay.
No way.
Brazil will qualify for the next World Cup, not Copa America, for the next World Cup. Yeah, but only because so many South American teams get to go from, how many teams are on the continent. In terms of this Copa America, they're nowhere near the best side. There's a handful of teams. What happened to Richarlison? What happened to Richarlison? Was he forgot where the goal was? He scores about 6-7 goals a year.
Shit.
To put that into perspective, there's only 6 or 7 more than me and you put together.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's not that many when you say it like that.
Science.
Yeah.
Quick sidebar. Speaking of easy math equations, did you listen to the Joe Rogan Terrence Howard episode?
I did not. No.
Ooh. I think Joe Rogan said it was one of the more crazy episodes he's had in the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
And I guarantee you the first 50 minutes of it, you will be like, I do not understand a damn thing. But the dude is, I don't know. There's kind of some of it makes sense. So the first portion of it, he talks about how he can remember back from being in the womb.
What?
Yeah. And also he talks about having lucid dreams from being a young child, that he could go back to the same place and something would talk to him, ayahuasca-esque.
Dude, I was going to say, you wanted this in the ayahuasca section, not in the Copa America section. What the
this
fuck?
Isn't even I was going to talk about ayahuasca. But yeah, no, I just thought it was he's either a fucking genius or he's batshit crazy. There's no in between. which is what's kind of exciting listening to that
Second.
episode.
I'm all in on the second. I haven't listened to it yet, so I've got no basis for it. I'm all in on the second. Guy's fucked.
Yeah. 1 times 1 equals 1. He's like that. He's like 1 times 1 should equal 2. Anyways, listen to the episode. It's
Quick maths.
fuck.
That was Big Shaq, wasn't it? Big Shaq did the quick maths.
But yeah, sorry. Back to Copa America.
Yeah, so I mean, I know we discuss betting odds here sometimes. Brazil are really short priced. Like I would avoid Brazil like the plague for this. I mean, Argentina are the favourites at the bookies, and most football fans will tell you they're the favourites. I think Colombia at 12-1 is probably the best priced team. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think if it's not Argentina that wins it, I still think Uruguay have a better chance than Brazil. Ecuador could surprise
Messi
a few
not
people.
playing anymore?
I think Messi's going, right? Because it's in the States as well.
Okay, well, interesting. I thought he'd retired from international play, hadn't he?
No, I think you might find that he's still going to this. Let me check quickly. I didn't realize I was going to have to do some Jamie from Joe Rogan stuff to catch up with this Copa America. This kind of threw me out.
Okay, no, he hasn't officially retired. No? Yeah, he's playing. My bad.
Yeah.
I
There you go.
for some reason I thought he was retiring. But okay, cool. So check out Argentina. Colombia's got really good odds.
I mean, seeing as the US beat the Soviets in the Cold War, we live in a capitalist society. And obviously, Messi now playing in America with lucrative sponsorships was probably always likely to go to this Copa America.
Yeah, it's part of his deal, maybe.
If Pepsi tells you to play, you play, right?
Speaking of communism over capitalism, is Venezuela a contender?
Dude, jokes aside, this is probably the best Venezuela side of the last 30 years.
They're hungry as fuck, like literally.
Oh my God. Dude, I remember when the crisis in Venezuela started, right? And a bunch of guys I used to go to football with there, every couple of weeks they were sharing videos of people eating dogs, people eating rats, yeah? And no proof whatsoever. And they're going, look, man, it's Venezuela. Look how crazy these communists are. Right. No idea if the videos came from Venezuela, what year they were from, but everybody was just eat some shit, post it in the group chat. This is what Venezuelans do.
Dude, those are Asians, not
Venezuelans. Hybrid.
Okay, so Venezuela as a dark horse.
Dude, I wouldn't back them to win it, but I'd back them. They might be worth a punt to go deep. Semi-finals, maybe. That would be a shock. But the price would
get a shortage of water.
But then those motherfuckers going to be hungry and thirsty, right? Whew. Thirsty dog runs the fastest. What a hungry dog. What a dog that's still alive. I don't know. The dog that's about to be eaten probably runs the fastest when you really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good, man. Let's maybe change lanes here to the Euros. As we've heard in the intro, it's coming home. Your favorites for the Euros 2024 starting June 14th, I think.
Yeah.
The United Kingdom of England.
Are we going to have to end this here? Are we done? Are we done for the day?
Your favorites. Jesus Christ. So England are favorites. And who else do you like, Sid? And who should people
United
avoid?
Kingdom of Scotland. No. This is how you know that they're separate countries, right? My heart says England are going to win it. I can see why we're favourites, but at the same time, there are a couple of big problems with our team. We don't have a left back, whatsoever. We're going to be playing a right back at left back most likely, which is a big disadvantage. Because right backs use their right foot and left backs use their left.
Leg isn't able to support as much.
That's right. So he's more likely to fall over than somebody who's left-footed.
Right.
We probably lack one centre midfielder, and both of our centre backs are either injured or have spent a lot of time on the bench this season. So for the price, to be honest, I don't love it.
France?
No.
PSG?
I would put France in the same boat as us. I understand why we are the top two, But as a betting man, I think there are more fun options available.
Okay. I'm listening and writing as we speak.
Germany, for example, are 6-1. And I don't think Germany are any worse than France or England. If so, it's fractional, but they're also playing at home.
Germany have just broken my heart too many times, man. I don't know if I have it in me to bet on them again. I think last time they were in a tournament, I ordered a jersey, and by the time I got the jersey, they were out of they weren't even out of their group. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. No, it's not been pretty recently, but they've changed coaches actually twice since the last tournament.
The blue guy's gone.
The ball scratcher guy has gone, and then his replacement's gone as well. And now they've got this young tech bro. He looks like a tech bro, but I don't think he is. And their front three, well, Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala have both emerged since the last tournament. And they've got a couple of other guys who have come from Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know if you've heard about Bayer Leverkusen this season. It was one of the most remarkable things in football history.
Of course.
Yeah, do you want to explain it to the listeners, or shall I keep going?
Just remind me. I mean, this is your segment.
Fantastic. So basically, right, Bayer Leverkusen very, very nearly went unbeaten in every competition across the whole season. The only team that had ever been close to doing that was, I think, Benfica in the 60s or 70s. Right? And Bayer Leverkusen are not even the best team in their league, or weren't supposed to be the best team in their league. They went the whole league season unbeaten, won the league by miles. They went unbeaten in the cup, won the cup, but they lost the Europa League final. They did get to the final without losing a game, but they got beaten by Atalanta in the final. But they have a couple of guys who will be in this Germany team. So,
nice.
Yeah, if from a betting point of view, I think Germany are better priced than France. I don't think they're better than France and England, but they're better priced than France and England, seeing as it's tournament football and a lot can happen.
Can I do another sidebar? Speaking of undefeated teams and stats that most people haven't heard.
Are you going to mention the Sens?
You fucking wish. The UNB Varsity Reds, so the University of New Brunswick Varsity Reds men's hockey team, which is my university, last year won all the games in the regular season, undefeated, went to the Nationals, undefeated, perfect season. Amazing. Never happened.
Oh, well, I thought there was going to be a kicker there. Like, they lost the last game, or the ref screwed them and sent off the goalkeeper. And wow, congratulations. What a result.
Thank you. Back to the Euros.
Thanks. So, basically, if the New Brunswick hockey team don't win it, the other team that I'm looking at is probably going to be the Netherlands, because you can get them best price at 18-1.
Is that because I'm drinking Heineken?
Yeah, man, I've been corrupted mentally. You've got me with that product placement. No, I just think their squad is really underrated. The Euros, because of the way the draw now works, it's not really a problem to come second, because they've got France in the group, so they might come second in the group, but it doesn't have to be a problem. They can even come third these days because of how open the draw is. And I think they've got really good players. At the back, they've probably got most of the top teams can't put together 2 good centre-backs. The Netherlands have got 5.
Fuck, they should trade one to England.
Well, that would help everybody, yeah. They've also got a guy who's playing centre midfield called Cooper Myers, who plays for Atalanta, who just won the Europa League. And I really like him. If anybody's heard of him before who doesn't watch a lot of Italian football. Question?
Did you say Atalanta last time?
There's an extra A in there.
Yeah, I thought you said Atlanta. I was like, Atlanta fucking beat Leverkusen? What the fuck?
No, there's an extra A in there. It's Atalanta. I've looked at, I've read a book before. Yeah, there was a goal that they scored in the World Cup, which was very famous because basically they had a free kick from like 20 yards out, and normally everybody shoots from there. Yeah, and they played like a sneaky pass. It's very hard to explain, but basically it was like a viral goal from the World Cup, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?" Like, no, I've never seen a goal like it in like 25 years of watching football. I've never seen a goal like it. And Cooper Myers was the guy who played that pass, and he's a better player than he was 2 years ago.
Was it like that goal when UNB beat St. Mary's University?
Fuck it, was the same.
U Cup?
Yeah, it was the same thing. Remarkable. Never seen anything like it, except on those 2 occasions.
That's
They've also got a couple of guys who play for Dortmund. Dortmund are in the Champions League final, which is happening, I think it's this weekend. So, yeah, I just think the team's in great form. Everything's coming together at the right time. They have the most logical route to getting their best 11 players on the field. Everybody's fit and healthy. Stacked, man. Memphis Depay's going.
yeah, dude. Didn't you have him for us to bet on in the World Cup? I've got a mind like a fucking turtle.
Do turtles have strong memories or poor memories? I'm unaware of the memory strength of a tortoise. Memphis Depay did get 2 or 3 goals in that tournament, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, but I put money on him.
Yeah, me too. It wasn't a disaster of a bet. It didn't really get running, but it wasn't a disaster. Top scorers.
Maybe it's one of those delayed bets.
Maybe it's one of those delayed bets. But anyway, at 18-1, I am absolutely all in for this. And just in case the listeners might be like, oh, this guy Sid, he's dumb as fuck. He's too busy drinking and out getting pissed in random Eastern European countries. No, sometimes I also win bets because I had money on Italy last time. Yeah, that was about 16-1. And I had money on Portugal 8 years ago now. Jesus, getting old. 8 years ago. And that was about 16-1 as well. So I've actually won the last 2 Euros. And if I win 3 in a row, I think they send me a trophy saying like greatest man in history, something like that.
So you picked Italy last year and Portugal 8 years ago. Or last Euros, you picked Italy. And 8 years ago, you picked Portugal. Fuck, dude, you should start picking England.
Well, that might be why I'm winning my bets. It's not a case that I'd get England to win the tournament. It just might be that that's why I'm winning, is because I'm not picking them. I do rate this England side. It's just hard to back with a lot of confidence a team that hasn't won a tournament since 66.
You guys literally are the Maple Leafs.
Except that we know what is a plural and isn't a plural of a word, because the Leafs is not a correct spelling, as we did in season 1.
But I mean, like, both
makes me very angry.
Canada's invented a sport. You guys invented a sport. One of the more marquee teams, we'll say the Leafs. Leaves. These fucking
Leaves.
And England's is it the Three Lions? The team name?
The nickname is the Three Lions, yeah.
3 Lions, and maybe start calling them the Cubs, because Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, listen, man, I hope to God in your lifetime one day I just can't, I'd love to see England. I want to be in England when England wins the World Cup, because it's going to be insanity.
Dude, it's going to be madness.
Do you think it's going to be bad like Philadelphia, where they had to like grease the fucking telephone poles and shit?
Yeah. Like, did you see the videos from when we got to the final with Italy? Because it was played in England, right? It's played at Wembley. And like guys were like sticking flares up their ass, lighting their flares and then running down the street. Man, there was guys like just openly doing like packs of nose beers on the street, full view, video cameras, police around. Like guys just ransacked the stadium. Like there was far more people in the stadium than was supposed to be, and loads of England fans with no tickets just ran straight through the barriers because they were a stampede. It was like wildebeest.
Is that footage from the Netflix documentary? I saw a Netflix documentary, something about football.
No, maybe it's not. I don't know what you're going on about.
Okay, might just be different Netflix. You know, every country has different Netflix.
No, I know.
Yeah. But okay, well, yeah, man. I'm. Listen, like I said, I'd like to see it happen, but I won't hold my breath. So your dark horse, Netherlands, and who else do you like, or who should people avoid other than England, France?
I think the Spain team is overrated. So I wouldn't back Spain because I think they're 4th favourites. 5th favourites as well, I think are Portugal. Spoke with a friend of mine, Jack Francis, a big fan of the show actually, so shout out to Jack Francis, who thinks Portugal are going to run deep. I completely disagree. I think they've got some good players, but they're still going to be playing like a 40-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo up front, which is a problem now rather than a solution.
Right.
One of their centre-backs is also 41 or 42, and they're not that strong in the other positions that I would be worried about them if I was one of the top teams. So I think Portugal are really overpriced.
He's just looking at name value.
Yeah, they've got a few big names in there, but as a team, it doesn't look strong at all. The current champions, Italy, their squad is so much worse than 4 years ago. I would be shocked if they get past the quarterfinals, for example. Italy look really weak compared to how they did 4 years ago.
It's so weird, man. They were like top of the world, you know what I mean? They beat France and then like didn't even make the next year. Was it the next Euro or the next 2 Euros? It was just like a weird up and down.
It's back to front. Yeah, they won the Euros, but didn't make it to the World Cups either side, I think.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit like that, though, because they won the World Cup in 2006, which maybe is what you're thinking about when they beat France.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think they made it to the knockout stages of the Euros either side. Oh, no, they did actually. They made it to the final of 2000. No, that was 2012. So I don't think they were relevant at either of the Euros either side, yet they were world champions. But they're a boom or bust team, basically. They go all the way or they just don't bother showing up.
Yeah, so you gave, I guess, or we spoke about running. I forgot to tell you, though. I've been on a little bit of a break from running here. I got a new tattoo. Got my elbow done.
Yeah. That looks painful.
It was fucking bad, dude. Like the guy outlined it like a few months ago. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. People say the elbow's bad. And he was filling it in, man. I was like, holy fuck. I might die.
You must be the toughest man your side of the equator, because I wouldn't get that done.
I don't recommend it. But yeah, I'm off till to next Saturday, and then back in the saddle to the July 21st is the marathon, and looking forward to it.
It's something you'll remember for the rest of your life, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't do too many of them.
I want to try to. I've been thinking about talking about this a little bit. This is something I guess that some people might find interesting. So in the podcast game, especially when you're a guest-based podcast, you are constantly in people's DMs. You're constantly looking for people to, who's going to come on, who's a good fit, who would have some good stories. And sometimes that's a lot more challenging than you'd think, because I think on this podcast, I've had a lot of people from like YouTube, right? But I feel like from YouTube, you might get some similar answers or some similar type experiences, because there's a lot of YouTube content that's copycat, right? Like, for example, that fucking train that everybody did, the charcoal train or whatever through Mauritania. You know what I mean? Like, bunch of YouTubers just kept doing the same experience. So it's not that their experiences are the same, but I just wanted, I guess, some new people. So this is the next batch of people that I've been reaching out to. So I got Paul Rosalie. Do you know Paul Rosalie?
No, dude, you're not going to get a yes from me on any of this.
No, I think you might know.
Like, I know Jake Paul because he's fighting Mike Tyson next month. But other than that, I like YouTubers and who the fuck are these people?
Paul Rosalie was on Joe Rogan. He's like a researcher based out of the Amazon. So I thought that he'd be pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
I reached out to the bassist of Alexis on Fire, which is a Canadian screamo band. And I just noticed that he's traveled quite a bit. I also reached out to Chet Hanks. You know Chet Hanks?
Well, I believe his dad is pretty famous, yeah.
His dad is pretty famous.
Wilson!
He hasn't agreed to come on yet, but we have been emailing, so I think it might happen.
Are you allowed to shout these people out before they've come on?
Why not? I'm doing it right now, baby.
Wilson! Dude, I hope you do that so many times in the episode. I'm only going to listen out for that.
Yeah, take a drink every time I say Wilson.
Oh, good.
And I got another guy who I found on YouTube. I wasn't shitting on YouTubers, but there's these two guys that are doing. It's so funny. I see some of these guys and I'm like, man, this is shit that me and you would have done back in the day. There's these two guys that they flip a coin every destination that they land in. They look for the loosest place in the world, and it's two guys from Australia. And they flip a coin where if you call it, you get the $1,000 budget for the destination, and then the other guy gets a $20 budget for the day. So the 1,000 versus 200 or 20.
You linked me this the other day, and I watched this. It was actually quite amusing.
I actually watched the whole thing. I thought it was so like cool because it just really highlights two different experiences, So hoping that I can get at least two of these guys, because we're chatting with a couple there. So yes, we were talking about ayahuasca a little bit. We've talked, I think I've talked about a lot of the experiences that I've had, and in depth, I've had episodes where we just talked about the whole experience and other guests coming on. So I think I've exhausted talking about ayahuasca for a while at least, but I feel like we haven't really talked about it, what your experience was. You were next to me throughout this experience. I know that we talked about it briefly. We talked about some themes, but I'd like to understand the visions and the shit that you saw. And the reason I'm asking that is because I recently found out that there's somewhere in Canada that you can do that there's someone from Peru who's flown in, and I might be doing that.
What's your favorite brand of tennis ball?
Can't say.
Wilson.
It's like Yonex or something. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know if that would be the same. Have you thought about this in depth? Because what quality are the ingredients going to like? Do the ingredients travel? Is it like Guinness, for example? Guinness is never better than when it's closer to the source. Maybe the ayahuasca is the same.
I know someone who did the experience, and they said that it's 4 experiences, so it's 4 nights, and you sleep there, and they feed you as well, so you have to be under the diet. But yeah, I'm considering it.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, they said it was great.
So I suppose to answer your question, I'm recalling now back to deep back of the mind, enlightened memories from 2 years ago. So I might not have quite the array of adjectives and descriptive terms that you used, but I mean, I think the first thing I would mention is if you are in the area and you feel like you need to get on the right path in life, or maybe go over some things that have happened to you, 11 out of 10 recommend it to everyone. I mean, find a good shaman. Don't just go get it off some guy who works at McDonald's.
If he's white, you probably can do it.
Shout out to the shamans.
Hell yeah.
That was just my opportunity to tense as well, because it was arm day at the gym. No, so right, obviously, yeah, go and get yourself in the right location with the right people. But yeah, being in the forest and stuff is obviously the right start. I think you covered some of the details about what we did, like with the diet and cutting out, some meat and alcohol, and yeah, and I think once you get down to the actual experience, I think mine had some similarities to yours, enough that it was quite scary in a way how similar they were, but also maybe some fundamental differences. Because for me at the beginning, like the way I described it originally, or would still describe it now, it was like a carnival.
So how did you get from there to carnival? Like, did it just like appear?
No, things progressed. It went from nothing to more light, more bright, more images, more people, more things going on. Because, for example, you would see the images of a person, right? Could be a head, for example, of some wise-looking fella, right? And eventually that would get lighter, and then there would be more people in the scene, and that would be lighter as well. And eventually you get to the point where it's just a carnival, because everything is happening and there's so much going on, right? And there was a lot of dragons in mine.
Oh shit.
Yeah, communist Chinese spirit, I guess, deep in the genes. and like, for example, the dragons were leading a lot of the part. Like what was happening with the dragons as we went around the carnival was kind of how I was feeling, which was mostly happy. The only time I felt bad was when we were sitting on the floor. I don't know how well you remember this. And it was a pretty hardwood floor, right? And I get lower back pain because...
It wasn't comfortable, yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah, and I started to take a dark turn. I was going somewhere nasty. Like those lights and appealing colors and attractions were turning something very unwelcoming and unpleasant. So I jumped up on, there was like a little cushioned area behind us, if you remember, in that little hut. And I jumped up on there and suddenly everything bright again, right? Wonderful, in the happiest place in the world. Yeah, and then one of my dragons threw up. So I did the same. Yeah, straight after, straight in the bowl.
Did you... I think one of the things I was scared of when around puking was like that I puke all over myself. I didn't know how like inebriated I'd be, right? So like for you, was it like you knew you were going to puke?
Dude, like everybody had told us that it was going to happen. So I wasn't thinking it wasn't going to happen, but I was kind of calm about it. Like, I've puked enough times in my life as a functioning alcoholic that I'm probably going to be okay.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, I mean, I just feel like, in a room in this kind of private situation, if I get a bit of sick on me, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, see, my bag didn't show up. That's why I was a little worried about it.
Yeah. Well, you could have borrowed that poncho that you asked me to buy that I never used. The raincoat. Right, but anyway, so the dragon, and I weirdly, I had, I don't want to say control, but my body knew what to do. I instinctively picked up the bowl, threw up in the bowls that they gave us, and then put the bowl back down. But like the throwing up was really grim. Like it was like painful. Blood, yeah. It was disgusting. The weird thing is, during that period, I was so away from the visualizations and back in the real world. It was insane. It was like that. Snap back and I was in. Yeah. And I was like, I'm throwing up. And then I finished and I put the bowl down. And then like that, I was back in Magic World again.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. The difference was, though, when I came back to Magic World, I wasn't at the carnival anymore with the dragons. I was now reviewing all of the things that I'd gone there to see and do and think about. And basically, for me, it looked a little bit like you'd see it and you'd go through it. You know, like how video games, they come into the screen and then they go across.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Super Mario.
Yeah.
The man works from left to right, right?
Yep.
So things would come into the screen from the left. Obviously, this is my mind, right? They'd come in from the left, right? And I'd get to spend some time watching them, seeing what was happening, yeah? And then the shaman would speak to me and be like, this is wrong, this is not okay, this needs to be changed. And I would have the chance to argue it if I wanted to. I could say against it, I could say why it's okay, and we could almost have a back and forth like it. And at the end, it would either flash green and go up, and that was the signifying that it could remain in my life, or it would go red and go down, and that was signifying that it needs to be gone.
Fuck.
And like that, several different things were evaluated and decided, were they kept or were they left? And then I died.
You died? You didn't tell me this.
Yeah. I told you this. Maybe you were also a functioning alcoholic and don't remember. But I told you I died.
Jesus, okay.
So I died. I watched myself die. I think they call it an ego death. I don't remember exactly how I died. Now, this is the issue with doing this 2 years later. What I remember, though, was the more important part about what happened afterwards, though, because after I died, right, I came back to life, and it showed me with all of the green things in my life and none of the red things, and showed me what should be happening and how things should be. So I think I had to die to get to that part where I could see the correct answers.
Right. So you can kind of get that 10,000-foot view.
Yeah. I mean, I'm scared of heights, so I like a 10-foot view would be fine for me.
10-foot view, yeah. I can see it with the colors. I'm good. Yeah, man, that's fucking gnarly.
Yeah. Like, I don't remember the dying being like really painful, really scary. I don't remember it being traumatic, but I just remember that it happened because it had to get to the next stage.
So would you categorize it? So you said carnival, but would you categorize it as a very visual, very colorful experience for you?
Yeah, exactly that. It was, you're visualizing everything. Everything is bright. Everything is happening. Everything is there. It's, there's no lulls or down periods. It's all explosions, lights, events, things going on. Everywhere you look, there's something happening.
There's someone I talked to, the person who I was telling you that found that ayahuasca retreat in Canada. The person's so it was 4 nights. First night was just kind of euphoric. Nothing really crazy happened, but it was just really beautiful and serene and amazing and all this. Second night was all the people that caused them trauma and them dealing with it. Second night was all the people that they caused trauma to and apologizing for that. And the fourth night was this like being hovering around them and fucking repairing them.
Oh wow.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
It's fucking wild shit, man. It's nothing to play with.
I always remember, right, when we were at when we were at base camp in the Amazon, and we met this Australian guy, and he'd been going out to like the beach, and because there was a little river beach there. Do you remember where we went swimming with the dolphins?
Yeah.
And he'd been going out there some nights to do it, and he'd done it like 6 nights out of 7, and he'd been like, I've seen fuck all, it's not that interesting. But it turned out that he was like 21 years old. He'd had a nice life, I don't think he had any trauma or any issues to resolve. Like it is something that you do if you need to do it. It's not something you just do
for fun. It's not recreational.
No, exactly that.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic. It's not recreational.
Yeah. The way I described it, I would always say it's like 5 years of therapy. And I thought about it and I was like, I don't think that you can even reach those levels with therapy. You know what I mean?
No. Not a chance.
So
not a chance, because there's no filter as such. Yeah. Like I think we agreed that there's a shaman or a voice there directing you through things. That shaman is pulling out things that you yourself would never consciously pull out in a therapy session, I believe.
Exactly. Some dark shit that you...
I don't know if you remember one of the other guys we met at base camp. One of the guides, he was saying about how he used to do it every 7 years, and about how his visions connected. With like the first time that he did it, his wife and kids were running away from him in the jungle because they were being chased by animals. And then in real life, his family kind of broke apart, and then he did it 7 years later as a therapy session. He's like, kind of recovered from that incident and got back on track with his life. And he was like saying, yeah, like every 7 years or so to kind of evaluate where I am in life is a good way to do it. I don't think that's right. It's not something you can do often.
Yeah, that's the thing with like psychedelics. I don't think you can qualify them as like recreational, just because you don't end that and then the next night you're like, let's do that again. That's going to be awesome. There's just so much processing, and it's more difficult than, you know what I mean? Like having a few beers isn't difficult. It's fun. You don't like go through difficult things.
I think it's fun.
But you know what I mean? It's just that once you do those experiences with ayahuasca or psychedelics, you cut to the core. It's, for me, another way to describe it that I found that resonated was like, it's like an audit on yourself. Where you can't, you know what I mean? Like you can't really lie. So yeah. Anyways.
If you look back at the history of the Seahawks, which one was your favorite quarterback?
Seahawks?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Tavares Jackson.
Yeah. Instead of Russell Wilson!
You thought I was going to say Russell Wilson? I think it was Tavares Jackson, his name.
No, I just wanted the Wilson part. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So Tavares Jackson, the reason I fucking love Tavares Jackson is that he was the quarterback for the Seahawks when they were playing the Giants in 2012. I bet on the Seahawks they were paying 7.25. Won that fucking game, baby.
I love a good bet story.
Yeah, it was part of that bet, and another bet was my first backpacking trip fund. It was a big hit.
Top 5.
So Sid, we're gonna do the top 5 countries with the highest body count. For those who don't know what a body count it is, we're not talking about mafiosos. We're talking about
I thought it was when Little Paulie and Fat Tony go out with the shotguns.
funny how. Funny
like a clown.
We're talking
I love
about
that movie.
the countries that fornicate the most, or that have the average.
Have you been reading thesauruses?
I'm trying to learn your language. So Sid, I have a top 10 here. We're gonna do a top 5 for you, but I'll give you 10 guesses. Maybe I'll give you 12.
Just out of curiosity, with 10 or 12 guesses, how many would you expect somebody to get? Because I feel like as an athlete, I need something to aim at here.
So I can either answer that, or I can answer. You can ask me 2 continents, and I can tell you how many of them are by continent.
No, I don't want that. I'd like to know what you would expect. What's a respectable score?
There's 2. You should get 2, I think. Just based on people you.
I feel like the bar is low here. Let's go for it. Let's have it.
Okay, go for it.
Right. New Zealand, number 1.
New Zealand is number 3.
I knew it was high.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was younger, I checked to make sure that I'd beaten a few national averages. Right, seeing as they're neighbours and also very, very keen travellers, because everywhere in the world you go, there's always some fucking Australian, isn't there? Shout out to any Australians that are listening. Australia.
Love you, Australia. Did you say Australia?
Yeah, that's one of my guesses.
Australia number 2.
Yeah, now this is going to get a lot more difficult, though.
Those are the 2 I thought you would get.
So, right. Well, a question that we've been asking each other for about 12 years now. Do whores count?
I don't know. So this is according to World Population Review, which is a website apparently. I don't.
If knocking girls count, then the list could be completely different. But right, let me try and go without it.
Let's say yes.
So, okay, I believe that could open up Thailand.
Thailand is not on the list.
Not even in the top 10.
Not on the list.
Wild, because those people like a good time.
Lady boy.
Another group of people who like a good time. So I'm going to guess them, but I'm not confident in the list would be Brazil.
Not on the list.
Not on the list. Wow, what a shocker.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you at 5. I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
Which won't skew anything, but it'll be fair to you, I think.
I'm going to guess. I think they have some strong religious beliefs there, so maybe it's not that many partners, but it's a lot of sex. But I think Nigeria could be there.
Nope, not on the list. So the hint is that you've only been to one of these countries in the top 5. You've been at number 1.
Oh my God. The Netherlands.
Netherlands are not on the list.
Right, so knocking girls are not counted then.
This is a fucking tough one. I found this and I was like, I think Sid is going to struggle with this.
Yeah, this is harder than I expected.
Do you want me to give you a hint?
No. You keep your hints to yourself, sunshine. It's not Canada, is it?
Canada's not on the list.
Yeah, I'll take a hint.
Okay. Do you want a hint for 1, 4, or 5?
5.
It's the only nation in Africa. on the list.
To be a little bit different to its neighbours, therefore it's South Africa.
Correct.
Bam! That was, to be honest, outside of Nigeria, that was my second most likely African country. So that was coming.
We've got 2 left, and these are fucking. Whew, I don't think you'll get either.
Cambodia.
No.
The age of consent there is
Fucking
12.
madness. Cambodia.
The age of consent in Cambodia is 12. That opens the doors to a lot of people.
I guess, but also fucking genocide is kills the mood a little bit.
Well, I suppose it does, but they're not killing each other right now, are they? Pol Pot was like in the 70s, I believe.
I mean, they haven't recovered. Fuck. So yeah, you've got one more guess. I'll give you 3 more guesses. How's that?
Colombia.
Incorrect.
Dude, I don't think I've got it in the locker, no.
Okay.
I'll take 3. I know I got a clue for South Africa, but that was coming anyway. I'll take 3 and say that was good. But
this one is very vague, but it's in Europe. For one of them,
is number 1.
And the other one is an animal.
Turkey.
Turkey's number 1.
No, refuse. Refuse to believe where you got this list from.
I don't know, dude.
Trash it.
The World Population Review.
Dude, this is guys with big egos coming in like, yeah, my body counts 968. I used to hang out with Wilt Chamberlain and Ric Flair.
Dude, the kebab
Charlie
guy?
Sheen.
The guy is printing money.
Nah, fucking bollocks, man.
Number 4.
Right.
It's in Europe.
Norway?
Norway was not a terrible guess. Norway's number 7. But number 4 was Iceland. Nothing else to do.
Yeah. It's the problem up there.
Yeah. I also agree with Turkey.
Wow.
I was really fucking like, what? What is that? So
Somebody's
Turkey's
lied
1.
on those statistics, friend. Let's agree on that right now.
I'd even take Turkey out of that top 10 and just bump Australia to 1 because the Aussies are going for it.
They do like it, right?
Yeah, so we've got Turkey 1, Australia 2, New Zealand 3, Iceland 4, South Africa 5, Finland 6, shout out Finland, 7 Norway, 8 Italy, 9 Sweden, and 10, that Swiss Army knife, baby, Switzerland.
I completely anecdotal, but I am shocked and stunned by this list.
Me too. I think I'm surprised there wasn't more Europeans and no South Americans.
So you were surprised there were so many Europeans, right?
It was some of them. Like Finland was maybe a bit of a shock, to be honest, just because their nature is quite shy. But I can't believe that Brazil's not there.
I don't have much else to say. Just stunned by whoever drew up this list. But I'm going to go speak to my pals on the square later and be like, guys, we've got to get ourselves back on this falling down the league table.
I think it might not be a terrible idea. But no, man, listen, this was great. Let's jump into the Patreon quick, and I want to do those 50 states. See if we. I don't know if we can. Do you think we can do the 50 states?
I think we can smash the 50 states. Well, we can certainly try, can't we? We'll get close.
Fuck, all right, let's see. All right, everybody, if you want to hear the rest of the episode, we're going to talk about other shit than just the 50 states. But anyways, jump on the Patreon. Come support the pod. Thanks for coming on, Sid.
Patreon.
Thank you for listening to Two Beers Till Takeoff. Do you want free additional content or just to stay connected with the show? Then give us a follow on our social media platform. That means TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Are you in need of podcast production services, video editing, or anything in between? Then look no further than Strut Sound Productions, the official producer of the Two Beers Till Takeoff podcast. Music produced by Alex Gagné. Check out his work in our show notes. Voiceover done by Viking Leo K. See you next week on Two Beers Till Takeoff.